the one who can do the calculating, because that's what the computer has to do. But he's the one who's choosing the parameter that is important. And that's why he also would always say, we are, as physicists, still important for the experiment. We cannot be taken out of it. And that's where the possibility and the probability comes in. And I thought that when you define, and that there is another parallel, and as if you would even apply the logics of quantum into your proposition, and not, that means not interpret the market as something that is working like particle, in a particle sense, but more in a wave sense, in a sense of interference, because you say quantum mechanics defines reality beyond the range of possibilities in the quantum, in the atom.
Yeah, the wave function is above from it.
The fascinating thing, and that's also where it becomes interesting, is that what's happened at the quantic level is outside of the spatial-temporal way we are thinking. It's the Hilbert space. That means what we can do and what the problem of the bad thing is and the problem of the Monte Carlo simulation, all the probability is we are introducing, and that's a historicity, a certain form of temporality, because we are living in a spatial-temporal world and we are spatial-temporal beings, but we have to deal on the quantic level with a certain form of multidimensionality, where in a way what you are defining, how we have to deal with the underlying, we have to see it in the same way. You know what I mean?
Quantum mechanics is not complex, man. Quantum mechanics is a basic theory.
Of course.
So quantum mechanics is only telling you that there is something deeper in reality than choosing among possibilities, and you have.
But the double slit experiment. The problem is not that before the slits is contingency. In between the measurement is phantasma. We don't know what happens in between. We have to do probability amplitudes. They even had to be invented the computer in order to have probability amplitudes afterwards.
No, the double slit experiment, if I understand well, what is forbidden in quantum mechanics is what we call counterfactual reasoning. You cannot make an experiment by opening the two holes and have the phenomena manifest itself, which is waves in that thing, and argue if in the same experiment I had, in a kind of thought experiment, if I had counterfactually blocked one hole, 50% of the particles would have been through that hole, and 50 other in the other hole, therefore I would have observed two spots rather than waves. You cannot do that. You cannot counterfactually reason in quantum mechanics, because you can only do the other experiment. And if you did the other experiment, that's it. You restart a new experiment where only one hole is open. So therefore it's a whole other protocol of experiment. And then you get two spots, two blurry spots rather than interference.
No, so I think we are misunderstanding each other, because this is another experiment. If you have one hole or two, or the double split experiment shows exactly the wave particle dualism, and it shows exactly what you're also saying, that the standpoint of the observer is interfering with it.
No.
When we are, of course, when we are looking into it,
you can do the experiment without an observer.
We can define the impulse. No, we cannot, because the observer is at the end in the slide where the particles arrive.
I see people living this way.
I think that there is no difference.
Let me go back to my topic. Quantum mechanics. I'm fascinated by quantum mechanics. However, I'm not saying that the market is quantum mechanical. All I'm saying is quantum mechanics, which is physics, so it's unquestionable. There is in quantum mechanics an indication that there is something beyond probability, and I cite that as another case of the existence of meta-probability. That's all. So what I like in quantum mechanics, not applying quantum mechanics to my field, but applying the fact that quantum mechanics is a criticism of probability, to say, well, guess what? I'm looking also at probability from outside of it, from a realm that is beyond probability, and I'm also criticizing it. However, my realm is different from quantum mechanics. My realm is the fact that if you want to believe the formalism of probability, therefore you will not have a market for derivatives.
And I would say you couldn't think that thought without quantum mechanics. you wouldn't be able to have that horizon of thought. Yes, and this current forms of economics, especially with Monte Carlo simulations, wouldn't even be possible without the problems that were resulting out of quantum mechanics, because most of these problems, like also building the atom bomb, needed exactly that. That is all what I'm saying. I just try to, I'm with you, but I just try to historicize or frame your thought into certain thought styles of the 20th century.
Okay. I mean, mind the probability theory was made independently of quantum mechanics.
Of course, but still it moved into it.
I can argue, okay.
But it seems to be one of the kind of tools that we can use, because, you know, on the one side with Miyasu, we have this radical mathematization of history or prehistory in the past. You know, it's the only
Be careful with Miyasu's argument on mathematics, because he's quite loose in them.
Yeah,
Miyasu in his book jumps from one topic to the other, so he just, you know, talks about Cantor and the fact that all he takes from Cantor is the fact that there is a quantity that is bigger than any infinity, which is not even a quantity because it's not even totalizable. Right? Yeah. That's all. But there is no logical link between the radical contingency that he showed in his chapter 3 and the counter that he uses in chapter 4.
But if I may discourse, analytically speaking, or logically speaking, still this makes his argument. So, you know, it's like, even if you say, oh, he's just taking this bit, well, he is taking this bit. Okay. You know what I mean? Still, I think it's an inherent and important kind of...
he's dehistoricizing.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, he's taking like a certain mathematical notion, dehistoricizing it, and basically turning it metaphysical. If I'm being too harsh now, just to make the point, but that it is important to look at it, not just say, oh well, you know, he's just taking bits and pieces here and there, because I think we should take the fact seriously that he does use exactly that, and not, you know, maybe something else. I think that's just...
To go back to the market, for instance, would you think that market, because you said earlier that why should contingency only reserved for human beings, and why could it not be thought in the mind of an algorithm? This is what you say, for example. So the market to you is made by humans, or where would you put the market?
That's a very interesting question, and I've been thinking about it because especially recently, you know, all the speculative realists sort of came up with the notion taken from certain science fiction novels that the market or the system of capitalism is something that descended upon the present from the future as some kind of alien creature that we now sort of have to adapt to as parasites.
Wait, who said that?
Steven Shaviro, for example.
Oh, okay.
Let me say something. And this I find highly critical.
Wait, can you summarize that again?
But Steven Shaviro, citing some kind of science fiction novel that I don't know, said that the market or the capitalist system is some kind of Cthulhian, you know, Lovecraftian future alien overlord species that travel back.
Why is the market so unnatural then?
No, that's for him. That's I actually have a problem with that, because I think in this respect, it's sort of trying to blame what we like the way that we fucked up the system by creating capitalism on something else.
It confuses issues. I mean, the market has nothing to do with capitalism.
Yeah, that was exactly my question.
The market, according to me, is a metaphysical category.
Okay.
It's a new order of thinking that is outside probability, that is rather in the same nature as Miyasu's overturning of putting contingency at the basis rather than states of the world. So therefore, to me, the market is beyond the financial market. It's a logic on its own.
All I'm saying is that I think we're sort of at the wrong point, trying to push the blame somewhere else, away from humanity.
But why blame? Who are we blaming?
Well, in this case, to say, you know, even the way that you define derivatives is something that seems almost.
That he defined them.
No, did you speak about derivatives? Yes, it has something mystical, of course, and at the same time we say we're the only creatures capable of creating contingency.
No, I never said that. I'm making metaphysical statements. So if I make metaphysical statements, I'm being formal, a little bit sort of formal. So I have to make simplifications in my assumptions. So this is why I can talk of a market without talking of the traders, because I talk of the market as, just contingency or not. So that was a comment. However, what I wanted to say. So can you?
But can I just ask real quick? I mean,
But before you do that, excuse me, I'm just gonna call on the 3-minute rule now. Like, you have 3 more minutes now. We gotta stop.
just real quick, I don't get how you can sort of critique, which I agree with. You don't like this idea you're saying Shafir has, that it's just we're evading responsibility. Humans are evading responsibility because it descends on the food, and then you're critiquing anthropocentrism, because wouldn't actually at least a descriptive. Again, market is not capital, but
it's mixed up. I think it's really just 100 degrees inverted. In a way that I think we should definitely think, if we really want to create a new way of thinking, that what SDF done, that thinks in a meaningful way, in the way that we engage with technology and that we coexist with technology and all this kind of thing, then we should definitely be able to assign the capacity for contingency to technological media. And on the other hand, of course,
is there something in your argument that would disallow that? That let's say writing or exchange, as you're kind of putting it, trading.
To me, the market is a technology.
Yeah.
It is the technology of the future. So to me, it's simple. If you want to have a future, you have to have a market. Of course, if you don't have finance and we are living naked on an island, of course we don't need money and we don't need something else. But as soon as we have a future where you have trading on the tip, if you are trading, you cannot not trade. You have to. There must be time, and if you have time, therefore you have price and price volatility, and therefore you have all the derivatives. So it all builds up. It's not that derivative is superfluous. The derivatives is a necessity in my thinking.
If I may, I would stop here.
Okay.
The real is just drowning on us. And, I think that's a beautiful image to stop that day and that discussion. And, I thank you very much for your engaged and long discussion, and I thank you for listening, and I hope we're going to see each other back again tomorrow on Sunday, and tonight. Wie sieht das heute aus? Claude's going to tell you what's going to happen tonight.
And we are going to the Wetbureau, to the old Wetbureau, and guess what will be there? Oh, there's some.
in the Wetbureau, we're going to listen to Blaster, a 30-minute noise concert by himself, which is amazing. And there's Mariacha, who's a lot softer and more quiet. Good to have a beer with and relax after a long day of talking. And then there is Stand Back, singing songs of some guy that disappeared 20 years ago in the Pacific, and he found his music. And afterwards there's going to be funk, I guess, I heard, and some hip hop, and there's beers constantly. So I hope to see you there, and otherwise I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks to Nikolaus.